You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Time to fire up the VCR. This one's my favorite. That was gold.
Welcome to Analog Jones and the Temple of Film. I'm Steve, and this is a VHS podcast that looks at the box art trailer and behind the scenes. And my two compatriots that are coming with me are Brad and Chris.
Hey, I learned last weekend I need to like my women thick and jealous, so check and check.
I have nothing. Just keep going.
Yeah, Chris. So we're about to review the shit. That really got me, Brad. That tripped me up. Chris, we're about to review Spacehunter: Adventures of the Forbidden Zone. Why did you pick this one?
Because we watched it on Discord together, and I remembered it was real good, and I found it going through VHS. I still got like 20 cases of VHS, man. The choices are limited right now.
Well, hopefully you get to Ice Pirates. I mean, because when you first said Spacehunter, I was like, oh, sweet, we're gonna watch Ice Pirates, and then I realized, oh, I don't think I've seen Spacehunter, and then I realized, oh, I've definitely seen Spacehunter.
Yeah. Do you have Ice Pirates? Because I don't.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that one's definitely cheaper than this one. Because the one thing I can tell you is this movie is so much better than I remember it being.
Yeah, same. Second watch, I was like, wow, this one's good.
I don't think I'd ever heard of this movie until you brought it up, and I watched it. Spent $3.99 to get this sweet bastard on streaming on Amazon, and I really liked it.
It was free on Tubi.
Well, I'm stupid. I learned my lesson.
I did the same thing with Highlander. Oh, you mean it was free? God damn it.
Oh, you guys didn't watch this on Tubi?
No, I didn't. He paid for it.
That's what I thought you said, but you like it was at the same time. And I'm like, wait, did he just say he paid for it? What?
Brad paid for it. I watched Highlander. I paid for it on Amazon when it was free on Tubi.
Oh, ouch. Brad, don't worry.
Lesson learned.
You should feel good about spending money on this one. They deserve it. Columbia Pictures did a good job.
Like I said, I really enjoyed it.
This is a 3D movie. Before we get into the trailer and everything like that, I didn't see much 3D in this.
Mine's doesn't say 3D on it, but it makes sense now how some of the shit goes towards the screen.
Oh yeah, like the poster says Spacehunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone in 3D.
I'm looking at it now on Wikipedia, but mine doesn't say 3D, so.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, because this was like deemed the best 3D movie to ever be made. Yeah. According to them. I was like, how do you make that claim? I don't even know. I mean, the most memorable to me is Jaws 3D, and that's just because it sucks. Oh, and Friday the 13th 3D, but
My Bloody Valentine was a good 3D one.
Yeah, but that was made in like the 2000s.
I know, but I've seen it in theaters, and she just stands naked in front of the screen for like 3 minutes, just yelling. I was on a date, and I was like, well,
this is happening.
This is in the movie now.
So all my friends went. Quick story before we get into the actual movie we're going to review here. We all went and saw it, and we had two hardcore girls that always went with all the guys. You know, there's like 6 guys and 2 girls, and you know those type of girls. They take a lot of shit, but they can give a lot. So anyway, our friend Dana, we're sitting here watching the movie. That whole nude scene is going on, and finally, when she like takes the gun and her boob jiggles a little bit in like this one scene, she goes, "Oh, come on!" Because I was laughing so hard in that, just because I knew she was getting. I don't know if she was getting irritated at the nudity. She was getting irritated at how long the scene was going.
Yeah, it's painfully long.
One thing you got to understand is like basically all males between the age of 12 and 25 are psychopaths. It doesn't take much to entertain us.
I mean, I was fully entertained.
Yeah.
I remember loving that movie. I haven't watched it in a long time. Loving it because it was just so, perfectly made for me. But I don't know. I haven't watched it in a long time, so hopefully it holds up. Anyway, let's listen to the trailer of the movie we're actually reviewing for Spacehunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Fuck, man, the title's long. Ugh, here we go.
In 2 weeks, Columbia Pictures will present 3D as you've never seen it before. The first quality 3D film backed by a major studio. The first to use a new state-of-the-art 3D process. This is Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. It's the story of 3 unlikely heroes. Their destination, the Forbidden Zone. Their mission, save 3 stranded women.
I like her.
Their chances, 1 in a million.
I'll take that bet.
Columbia Pictures presents Outer Space as you've never seen it before. The ultimate 3D experience.
Can't anything be simple anymore?
Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. In 3D, the first movie that puts you in outer space. Rated PG. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Guys, it's going to put us in outer space.
Well, I think Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson would have a few words about that.
Yeah. I was like, I don't smoke weed, so.
You know what? I mean, again, I'm going to say, I don't remember seeing any 3D their marketing in the 3D of this is really, like, they're pushing it hard. And I remember, like, 3 scenes, the title sequence, like when a guy puts something towards the screen, and then the very end.
Yeah,
with
there wasn't much.
Yeah, so.
Maybe it was like Avatar, where it was just, ambiance was in 3D, and we just didn't get it.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't know. I didn't watch it in 3D, and I don't even know if this is available anywhere in actual 3D, if anyone released it or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice thing about, like, Friday the 13th 3D is you can actually find, 3D releases of it. I don't know how good it is, but at least you can watch it. I feel like a lot of these 3D movies of the past just kind of like gave up, like Amityville Horror 3D. I don't think you can watch that anywhere in 3D.
Good. I hate 3D.
It's so corny.
I wear glasses.
Oh, that's gotta suck. Yeah.
Yeah, you like can't watch it, so you accidentally get an IMAX 3D, and you're like, "Fuck." So do I want to see it, or do I want to blurry see it in 3D?
Getting into the details of this, directed by Lamont Johson, who was the second director because the first director was fired because they, the actors and a lot of people behind the sets just said he had no idea what he was doing. So they bring in a TV guy to like save the day, and he comes in. He's like, "This script sucks. Let's change this. This is our schedule. Let's get it done. We don't have time to waste." And all the actors are like, "Yeah, this dude knew what he was doing." I was like, "Yeah, because he comes from TV. They don't fuck around."
They got shit to do.
I feel like there's been a number of movies we've reviewed on Analog Jones where a TV director comes in to finish it because, like, they're like, shoot this scene, shoot this scene, shoot this scene. Let's go.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a weekly schedule. You got to pump them out.
Yeah. Like, you don't have time to mess around. They just get it going. And they know how to stretch $1.
Yeah, you have a schedule and a budget.
So starring Peter Strauss. I've seen this guy in a lot of stuff, but I never recognize him.
He's in Biker Mice from Mars. You remember that?
I'm pretty sure that was an animation.
It was.
Yeah.
To me, he reminds me of an American Christopher Lambert.
Are we just connected to Highlander through and through?
We'll never not be unconnected.
Yeah.
Every time you guys talk about something, you're like, you know what this reminds me of? Is it Highlander 3? That's exactly what it does. Yeah. For like 100 episodes. I'm like, guys, we got to stop bringing up Highlander. So come back to us in 100 episodes and see if I'm saying that. Guys, that's how you hook them.
Cliffhanger. That's a movie we could watch.
I'll watch any Stallone movie, honestly. Well, not all. Never mind. I shouldn't say that.
Now, see, Steve, what we're doing here is we're capturing this market inefficiency. It's like somebody's like doing the research, and it's like, you know what? Guys aren't talking about Highlander enough online, so we're going to capture that crowd.
So when it actually gets released, we can claim that we did it.
Yeah, that was all because of us. It wouldn't have got the traction without us.
Exactly. You guys are brilliant.
It's like a pyramid scheme. We tell 6 people, they tell 2 people a piece, and they tell them. It just spreads.
There you go. Same thing with the woke crystal last week.
Mm-hmm.
Just spread it. Spread that bullshit.
Doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's just...
And then come back and buy our some of our products, and then you can sell them to your friends.
Yeah.
We'll take all the advantages. You take all the risk.
In post-Trump's America, it doesn't matter if it makes sense or it's true. You just say it, right?
Yeah.
It's fact. The man on the internet told me.
That's right. I don't need references. Fuck those things. My brain is my reference. That's all I need.
Fucking sheep reading books and shit.
Speaking of sheeps, we've got Molly Ringwald. I don't know what that
Yeah, we need to carry on.
Molly Ringwald in this. People tend to have 2 opinions. They hate her or they just put up with her in this film.
She's really young in this film.
She's 15.
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, she does good if she would stop screaming the whole time.
Oh, she's
Like,
15 and no one was stopping her.
Yeah, they probably just told her to scream and be annoying, and she's like, "You want me to be annoying? I'll be annoying."
The thing that I felt uncomfortable about it was, they made it, like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, have sex with me or whatever she says to him. She didn't actually say that, but she alludes to it. And he's like, what? No. And then, then you have Michael Ironside, who's like licking his chops. He's like, oh, yeah, look at that soft red skin, or that soft red head. And I'm like, she's 15. I don't feel comfortable about this.
He's just going to drain her energy, just like the Skeksis.
I know. We're doing back-to-back movies where the entire thing is about the bad guy draining energy.
Didn't mean to.
Yep.
Forgot about that.
Happy accident. We also got Ernie Hudson on here, who is looking lean and mean.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he does not age much.
No.
No, he looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got Michael Ironside, who just owns the last 20 minutes of this film.
Did you expect anything less than that, though?
No. The only reason he only owns 20 minutes of this film is because that's all he's on camera.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was him, like, when I first watched it. And then the minute I heard him after watching Highlander, I was like, oh, fuck.
That's right.
So all leads back to Highlander.
Well, as soon as this thing, comes on film and I'm watching it and I'm like, this is Canadian. This is so Canadian. Like when you had all the people on the train and everything, I heard some of those Canadian accents. I'm like, Canada. And then, of course, Michael Ironside's in it, back in the day. So I was like, this is most likely Canadian. He's the greatest comedian. He's the greatest Canadian actor of all time. I mean,
yeah,
prove me wrong.
Disagreeing there. I would say, and then Ivan Reitman too is also Canadian.
Yeah, but he's no Michael Ironside, but he's pretty. I mean, he's one Canadian we can all look up to.
He's got some good stuff.
Is he tall?
I don't know.
Looking up to him, huh?
What is tall? What's that perspective? I don't know. 5'2", is that tall? Actually, I don't know. Short. I don't know how tall he is. Okay, so yeah, that's all of our stuff when it comes to that. So let's get on to the trailers. Oh, we don't have any. No trailers. Wah, wah.
Just getting right into it.
That's right. Feature presentation time.
And now, our feature presentation.
And we've got some extreme 3D titles. Whoa!
The title opening I thought was great.
Those are
Busting
sweet.
through the metal.
Yeah, like the whole thing. I just I liked it. The going through space and the title crawl.
I was just trying to figure out why they made the title so long.
Maybe it was going to be a franchise.
Yeah, it feels like it was going to be a franchise if they had more money or if it would have caught on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly this is, Columbia's Pictures' answer to the first 2 Star Wars films that came out. And I was wondering if they were doing the long title because, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, which this came out the same year as Return of the Jedi. So the only difference was this one spent 14 In Wikipedia, the budget is 14.4 million or 12 million. So I don't know. Okay. And they both have references. So weird. But the box office was only 16.5. Just a little bit off.
Little
the
off
Empire
of 300
Strikes.
or
Yeah.
whatever, 300 million or whatever Star Wars made back in 1979, 77 money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they thought Star Wars was gonna flop, so.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the people were basing it off the first time they watched it, and the rough cut at the beginning was terrible before his wife took over and said, like, yeah, let a real pro take care of this.
Mhm.
And then she won an Oscar.
Good.
And then Lucas divorced her and pretended like she didn't exist.
Oh, did he edit her out?
Yeah, he edited her. Yes, he did. There's actually, I think, Vice did a whole Star Wars thing where she's being interviewed and she talks about how Lucas literally just took her, like, pretended like she didn't exist.
Just have Jawas walking in front of her name on the title.
Give her a CGI like makeover.
Like he pays someone to go Google search her, and every picture she has, he puts like something in front of the camera. Damn, George, let it go. Let what go?
It's cold.
Just a CG character dancing in front of her title would be amazing. Someone go do that, please. All right. Yeah, after the title sequence, we see like this, a tour in space. Like you do on a boat tour or whatever, except they're in space. And then they have an emergency, which we don't see. I was a little disappointed in that.
I mean, the lightning just hits like the engine.
Yeah, but you're not introduced to the characters you're supposed to be like going on
that you're supposed to give a shit about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So I was like, and then I thought maybe they'd have a jettison shot that would copy Star Wars, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they didn't do that. And I was like, oh, that's a missed opportunity. But maybe they just ran out of money.
I do like though how they're like, we're having a minor inconvenience right now, and one escape pod leaves, and then the whole thing fucking blows up. Just those three get off, and everybody else dies.
And thank God that the three are just hot babes, random hot babes.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, wow, we got these fine ladies that just land on some crazy planet.
Wearing their big dick spaceship or spacesuits.
The one thing I pointed out is, hey, these pod suits are actually pretty good material. They looked really nice.
Yeah, they do. They just have like a giant chest penis coming off of them.
I just why are they look like they could also go deep sea diving at the same time. So whatever. That's why I was like, they're like in a boat in space. It's like someone just put them in like deep sea scuba diving gear, from like the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get introduced to, I mean, at the beginning, I totally called him a Han Solo knockoff, but I guess he is, but he's kind of different than Han Solo.
It's more like Spaceballs. If you think about Spaceballs, which that's
I
probably where they got the idea from, was this.
Yeah, when did Spaceballs come out?
I have no idea.
I think it was like 85. I'm going to say 85. 87.
Yeah.
All right, so it is more of like a Lone Star type character. A little bit less Han Solo, but obviously inspired by Han Solo.
Yeah,
because everyone was doing that at this time.
Yeah, if it's the early to mid 80s, and you're not doing a Star Wars knockoff, I mean, you are probably not getting greenlit.
Yeah, and they did a droid in this, except it was a human, because they're like, we can't afford that.
He's fucking that robot, right?
Oh,
well, I was thinking for sure, like 100% guaranteed. This is the 80s. Guys were just inappropriate. I mean, there's 100% sure he's going to sexually harass this female engineer, and then it's like, oh, she's a robot, so that's why he's not trying to do that sort of thing. But man,
but he bought her a sleeping shirt, which means she probably didn't sleep in one before.
Well, they try to trick you because she lays down. She's like, I'm allowed 4 hours of rest time. And then I was trying to figure out if they were dating or married, and then it turns out a robot, and I'm like, oh my God, he had a sex robot.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, that sex robot, it was much better than the ones I've seen on TV. You know, I mean, what?
Way less terrifying.
Much better than the ones down in my basement.
Yeah.
Uh,
No. I love it though. The spaceship starts going haywire and he kicks the fucker. And she's like, "Did you do the protocol?" And he's like, "Yeah, command protocol 1." She's like, "You kicked it?"
I wish she would have been in this movie more. I would have loved to seen them, but I know they had to get rid of her because they wanted to set up the gag, and at the same time they needed to introduce Molly Ringwald's character, which I think name was Niki.
Niki.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Wolff and Niki.
If they would have kept her though, they could have kept like a mother-father role for her. But
yeah. I mean, the actress is just gone right away. Just like, bye, you got shot. You know what, the whole, like, so he gets a distress signal and it's, save these 3 people, these 3 women, you'll get some money. And, obviously he's not really a bounty hunter in this. He's more just like a guy who takes jobs that other people won't take from this planet. Or I assume he goes to other planets, but he just happens to be on this one. I didn't. Really
he was
understand that.
near it. It made me think of Cowboy Bebop, but I bet Cowboy Bebop came out way after this. But yeah, they just out in space and get signals and then go to the planet and try to do whatever they got to do.
Well, it's just good to see, at some point in the future that people finally start caring about 3 attractive, rich white women.
Oh, whoa! One was of color, Brad.
Oh, what? Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow. I don't see color. Oh wait.
I mean, obviously you do.
Noticed.
But does anybody know why they were important enough to get rescued, or was it just because they got off that ship?
Well, I was trying to figure that out too, because I was like, oh, are these like 3 women of like rich senators, and they're like, these are our mistresses or our daughters or something?
Yeah.
No.
At that age, they're probably mistresses.
Yeah, I assume.
But then they're worth something to everybody on that planet too. That's like, what do they want with these women?
The fucking train boat, the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it was great.
I think they were just trying to help them.
Well, I mean, this movie is definitely doing a Star Wars thing, and it's definitely doing a Mad Max thing. They're just smashing it together. But then I was trying to think, I go, wait a minute, Mad Max came out in the mid-'80s, right?
I thought it was 83, 84.
Oh, no, Mad Max came out in 79.
Oh, the original one, yeah, Mad Max. I was thinking Thunderdome.
Oh, yeah, this was definitely a Mad Max Star Wars ripoff. There's no doubt.
But the thing is, it looks more like Thunderdome style than Mad Max. Because Mad Max wasn't like post-apocalyptic cars and all that. It was like after the apocalypse, like the year or 2 after it.
Yeah, the original one, yeah.
The best one, but
yeah, because Thunderdome came out in 85, which is actually the real best one.
You like Thunderdome?
I don't like Thunderdome. I enjoy watching that train wreck though.
I am Master Blaster.
I love the new one, the latest one, where the dude that's flying or the flaming guitar, and the other dude's like just banging drums and.
Yeah, the new one is tight.
Oh yeah, the new one's a masterpiece.
It's got 10 minutes of plot, and the rest is just fucking watch.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, like, I think that came out in 2015. Like, we keep saying new. I was like, yeah, man, it's been 7 years.
He was supposed to do another one because he won awards. But whatever. We digress.
Yes. Yeah, that whole Canadian train boat was amazing.
Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Yeah, and they thought it out too, because it was powered by solar. They had like the solar, like I don't know, parachute in front of it and everything. But it was the only thing I gotta say about these, like train people is
once you ain't got track, you're done.
Yeah, that and like the motorcycles they're on has so much shit on it, but that does like I love post-apocalyptic movies and their vehicles because they just pile shit upon shit on top of them. Even Wolff's like Jeep has so much shit on it.
Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do when they're designing them, so they just keep putting shit on it. And they're like, "That looks good, right?"
Yep. And that's why I enjoy them. I mean, and they add stuff to it that doesn't make any sense most of the time. Because when you get to, I actually forgot his character's name, but when you get to Ernie Hudson's character,
They
and he
called him
has
the
like a
chemist, but
snowplow.
Washington is his name.
yeah. I
Oh,
was
is
like,
it
they called him the
Washington?
chemist at first, but they because they thought it was the chemist, but it wasn't.
But his vehicle, is just like it's a snowplow with like the train rod on it that like,
The cow catcher?
well, that's the front,
Yeah.
the cow catcher.
Yeah.
But the like chain, the rod that they have to get the wheels moving on the train that's powered, like they
Mhm.
have that on his back wheel, and I'm like, so how do they power that? Because a train has it because the steam powers it. What the fuck powers it on this? I guess gas.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It kind of did look cool, even though it looked ridiculous at the same time. But
That looks like it could have been in wrong turn or something. It was a cool vehicle.
yeah. Let's see here. One of my notes is I love how how they dress the vehicles, but Jesus Christ, does the bad guys' helmets have to be so big? They were massive.
They got teeth. They look like chompers from Mario.
I would say those mechanized hang gliders were pretty awesome.
Yeah, and those were real people flying those. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Just people on the ground are setting it up like a big claw machine game. They're just wrapping the belt around the girls and then they're picking them up and carrying them away.
Yeah.
And that's when Chalmers gets shot.
The old man who just like yelling at Wolff, like just having a flashback.
Don't Wolff and Chalmers just go in there and start shooting everybody, and then after it's all over, like the guys, what are they, scabs or whatever they're called, they're just all good with it. You just killed like all our friends, but that's okay.
Well, he knows the girls are on the train, and I guess the train people, I don't know if the train people like help them out of the goodness of their heart or if they help them to get the bounty, but it looks like Wolf's going to go on there and just take her no matter what, and then these underdog people are happen to be attacking it, and he's like, oh fuck, this is going to be harder than I thought. That's how I took it.
She's like, what side are you on? He's like, mine. Gets out of the Jeep.
Well, yeah, and that's like a total Han Solo thing, it's just like, I just go after the money kid or whatever he says. My next quote, this is right after the whole like train, fight scene and everything. I go, this movie isn't as cheap as I thought it would be.
They put money where it mattered.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you can tell something later on in the movie. There's actually more corny, cheap stuff that they stick in. Probably when they were running out of money, or the TV guy took over and he's like, "Nah, just do this. Come on, we gotta go get this done." But when they introduce like the creepy like chemist, which is definitely a Renfield knockoff. He's like, underdog, I'm gonna get you these girls, these nice fresh girls.
Overdog.
I said underdog, didn't I?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't know Weinstein was the villain of this one.
I mean, he is, because like
he's like, I need this.
Overdog's like, I wanted to take this clip because I thought, Michael Ironside said a bunch of stuff in this, but he barely says anything. Mostly he just goes like, when I'm listening to the audio, he's like, oh, yeah,
they have scars.
Nice. Undress them slowly. And I'm like, oh, that's creepy.
That's when I said this movie is so close to porn. Like it's on the edge with Chalmers and then the three girls.
And I was thinking too, when he grabs the Niki and throws her in the water and like gives her a bath. If this was like a good real American space western, like there would have been some nudity there.
Good thing there wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'd be in trouble.
She's 15. I know. I was like, I don't feel comfortable about this. Because I when I looked up her age, I looked up her birthday and everything, and I started to add up, and I go, okay, so she would be 18 in 1986, and then I was like, and this movie came out in 83. Oh no.
Oh, she's 56 years old then, or 54, I think. Doing
Yeah.
math wrong.
Yeah,
She's right around there.
She's still acting. She's still going. I think it's on like Lifetime type stuff. I don't know, or some ABC Family. I don't know what it is, but it's something that I don't watch.
You know, but apart from her well-known stuff, I would say she was in a couple Stephen King miniseries, wasn't she? Like she was in The Stand. Yeah, she's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, she had one hell of a ride in the late 80s to the early 90s, where everything I mean, she was in so much that just like were box office gold because of the whole Brat Pack thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she definitely made some money, and she was a teen icon for a long time.
Yeah, I didn't watch those movies till I was in my 30s. They're not as good then.
Now, I don't think I watched them until like late teens.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the like later part of my high school.
That's the right age then.
Well, like I always like associated them to like my older brother's movies, while I was much more the like Teenage Ninja Turtles and The Mask and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was always like, oh, these are a little dated for me, but I guess I'll watch them.
And, you know, I never watched any of that stuff unless it had like Schwarzenegger or Stallone in it. I mean, or RoboCop.
Yeah.
I'm probably not watching it.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I mean, I watched, the Predator VHS like 50 times, and I saw like Pretty in Pink once. So I'm right there with you on that. Okay, yeah, so he bathes her, and then we run into Ernie Hudson looking lean and mean, and they think is the chemist, and they bust up the vehicle, and
real easy.
Yeah.
It takes no work.
Well, and then Washington is just like, I'm not going to fall for this. I know you're really not knocked out. You're not dead. I'm not going to fall for this. And then he falls for it. Gets smacked right in the face when he's pretending to be dead.
You okay?
Oh, and then they start going on the adventure. And so I think the first thing they run into... Oh, okay. I have a note here. It says the matte painting cutout at 42 minutes in is bad. Surprisingly, this is the only bad thing I've noticed in this film. So you can see the matte painting, and they cut it out around the mountain, and it's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it stains out pretty bad.
Yeah, so probably should put some more time into that.
You can say a lot of it's bad, but it's effects based that's bad, and that I think they did pretty good.
Yeah, like dressing, like this was the first thing that like stuck out to me where I was like, okay, this is a cheaper movie, but it's still not a cheap movie though. It's just that part right there. Like, ooh, they should put some more effort into that, because that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. It's like the interior designs is where this movie gets cheesy.
Oh yeah. Especially when they get to like, Overdog's like Jabba Palace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Mojo World, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
Mojo.
Yeah, we get the maggot. My quote is the cocoon fat suit monsters.
I got human pig bats. What'd you write,
call
Brad?
them maggot people. I just call them maggot people.
It paints a pretty picture of them.
Yeah, they spent money on these fat suits.
Yeah, they're disgusting. But you can tell it's a suit. It looks like one of those inflatable sumo suits.
Uh-huh.
Like when they run, like parts of the legs like dip in.
Yeah, it was just latex suits, you could tell, but still.
There's like 40
they were
of them.
Gross.
Yeah.
So
They just keep
gross.
coming. They just keep coming, and they get out of there, luckily.
Real slimy.
Well, and then they just go from like bad situation to bad situation, because then the Amazon women come, and the dragon, the swamp dragon as I called it, which actually had a name called Dragmon.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one where I go, okay, this is a cheap prop. That was the first one.
It wasn't the bottle rocket gun he used to kill it.
No, that's fine.
Didn't they want to bang him first and then feed him to the dragon?
Yeah, they said you're good for breeding. I don't think the dragon was intentional. They were like, there for 3 minutes and they're like, oh, fuck, a dragon.
Yeah, and then they left because they're like, oh, we're not fucking with this thing. So he was going to get banged to death.
Death by snoo.
Or they just keep him around forever. I don't know, because who knows? I don't. It was so weird because the Amazon women were there and then gone, and then they never come back in the movie. And I'm like, well, this is weird.
Yeah, that whole scene could have been cut.
Yeah. Then they should have, because that dragon monster looks so bad. But then my favorite ones come up because the two guys that were from the Canadian boat train, that's what we'll call it. They come up in their motorcycles and they're like, this is the last good spot before you get to Overdog's Palace. And it is, my notes, I called them babyface Jawa freaks that throw Molotov cocktails.
I got creepy ass Oompa Loompas.
Ooh,
I got drunk fire Jawas heaving Molotov cocktails.
That one's probably better.
Those things are fucking creepy. Like those baby faces. Ugh. And then no one really knows. I guess they were just sent by Overdog.
I don't think
we don't know.
No, I think
they might just be like Jawas.
They're just like, all they can do is like Jawas that can throw Molotov cocktails at people.
Yeah, and then just steal what they can from them.
Yeah, and then they finally get to what I always called, the Overdog's Jabba Palace, his castle, his Mojo World thing, where he has people, go through a maze and entertains everyone. I like anything like this in a movie. It's always fun.
I love Bartertown. Any movie.
It's always fun. It's just crazy ass scenarios and fucked up people and watching stuff. This reminds me a little bit of Arena. Back in the day from Empire.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, so
it's a good one.
It's always fun.
They sure got in there. They got in there. They got inside that fortress pretty easily.
Yeah.
Well, no one's paying attention to the front. That's what kind of like works. They go through it and everyone's like being distracted by the actual fight. And that's why they can shoot people and kill people and like no one
just
notices.
Walks in the back and they knock out two dudes and steal their costumes.
Yeah. And then we find out the chemist is actually taking. It's pretty cool because you find out the whole point of giving the reason he wants young girls, or actually, I guess he could just any young Earthling, is because he sucks their essence out, and that's how Overdog keeps his youth, even though he still looks like shit.
It's like because they're not radiated. I think they're not mutated by the planet.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they were sent. Well, we colonized that planet, and then it broke out in a virus at one point.
Ah, okay.
And then they sent doctors, and that's what the guy on the train was one of the doctors. And it sounds like Overdog was one of the doctors too, or the chemist.
I see. So there is a little bit more of the backstory here that I missed. That's why the doctor that was dying or got hit in the head was like jibber jabbering on about Overdog.
Yeah, because on the spaceship, he's like, I think we've heard of this planet. And then they look it up and it's like, yeah, you colonized it and blah, 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 blah. And this virus happened, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, that's the planet I'm going to. It's quick. It's throwaway. It's like 2 minutes.
Okay. But yeah, when he, gets the fiery redhead, he's like, I think you're going to like her. She's got some fire. And he's like, I do like her. For the maze, and this is what he says to her, like to basically set up the rules.
No, you're a lovely human, and you deserve to know the rules. If you make it through this game, you'll go free. But if you don't...
Oh yeah, I'm worm food, right?
Yeah, it was tough with her audio because she's so far away in that, but you could basically survive this and you get to go free.
And this is right after they broke those other 3 girls out, and this was like no less than 30 seconds after they broke those girls out, and he's just like, oh fuck it, just let him go, like don't even chase after him.
Yeah. God, what was his name? Washington. Yeah, he runs away with them. But I love how Wolff walks up, looks at the fight, and he's like, Fight's pretty cool, right? And the guard's like, yeah. And then he hands him the grenade and he's like, hold this. Walks away. Fucking blows him up. What are you doing in the cage? Can't you see I'm freeing them? Washington just beats the shit out of the dude.
But you brought up a good point. Like, they don't even attempt to go after these 3 girls, which would feed his essence for a while. This, like, the girls get away, they take them, and the chemist just walks up and goes, oh, but I have a replacement. It's like, look, I don't know how stupid Overdog is, but 3 to 1, I'm going after the 3. You've already got the 1.
They couldn't
You
have
can
gotten
have
far.
4.
They're like 6 feet away. They just stepped out the door.
Too
He's
far.
got a whole castle of henchmen.
Too far.
We got a
Over.
game to watch, fellas.
I mean, he's got to entertain the people, so he just throws her in, and then she actually escapes. And I love the whole dynamic between Washington and Wolff, because Washington keeps yelling at, like, man, Wolff, you've changed. You become soft. And I was like, yeah, he could just leave her because she's kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk away, get your reward, and everything would be okay. But you can't have that in a Star Wars ripoff.
Especially not in a Canadian space western.
No, they're way too nice.
I love that it says that. The Wikipedia says Canadian space western.
I mean, they ain't wrong.
Nope.
That maze was pretty wacky though.
Yeah, it's like the shitty MXC.
Yeah. Oh, but the thing that I think they should have spent more time coming up with was the life sucking machine, because it's just neon swirls like blinking, and I was like,
Yeah, it's like hula hoops going down a metal tube.
yeah,
I like it, but I'm
But-
a sucker for neon.
I feel like this is something that should have been in a cheaper movie, you know, like a $4 million Italian knockoff. This one felt like a little bit more like they had more money. I don't know. Maybe it was like one of the last things they built, and like, we don't have any money left. They're like, oh, I got an idea. So
I mean, I
who
think they
knows? It
would've-
could have been incredibly inventive for how much money they had left.
I guess. And I mean, did you see the size of the handcuffs they have her with?
No.
They're like the size of her leg, but they're around her wrist. And she's like, oh no, I can't get out.
Oh, is it one of
It's like,
those
you
situations?
easily slide your hand out of those.
Oh, my favorite thing about Overdog would be the easiest bad guy to get away from. He's like on a cane or on a crane. He can only go so far, and he's
He
got
moves
those
real
giant,
slow.
obnoxious, like, just like claw machine hands.
Yeah. His people don't have to follow him. If somebody wants to become a leader, just move like 20 feet farther.
I know. Just shut off his crane.
He's just over there screaming, and they're like, yeah, you can't get us.
All he's gonna do is scream at you.
I mean, I guess he has rockets in his claw, but it's just like 2 of them. Once he uses them, he's out.
He's
got
only going
none
to
left.
kill a few of us.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, I don't know. His henchmen must be awfully loyal for him to keep going.
I
like
always
this.
think that in movies like this, the evil guy, nobody stands up to him ever. Nobody like changes hands.
Well, it's the same thing with like Jabba and Jabba's palace. I
Yeah.
mean, just shoot him. He's a fat slug. What is he gonna do?
We don't slug shame around here, bud.
I mean, I guess the whole power, at least with the Jabba, is it's like an entire Hut organization. You kill one, they're gonna come after you. You're
Yeah,
dead.
their broys are gonna come down and get you.
So
In this
it's
case,
kind of,
though, I mean, there's
you know.
gonna be no repercussions. I mean, you can just leave Michael Ironside there screaming, and what's he gonna do?
He would will his way out. Like, I was wondering too. I was hoping he'd break out of that cane or that crane and then like come after them, because I wanted to see him fight with those like crab claws.
I was hoping he had legs.
Yeah.
Like he just hangs out in it in his maze thing so he can get a good view.
Yeah,
get
and,
out.
and as good as like actor he is, I mean, I guess maybe they didn't know this then, but and as fun and over the top he is, Wolff kills him really easy. It's like,
Mhm.
boom, dead.
He shoots him with the Nerf and takes him out, and then but he didn't. He starts crushing him, but it's the weakest crush ever.
I hug you to death, and then just oh, this isn't really that bad.
Yeah, big ass claws the size of a human, and it's not even hurting him.
No, he just hugs him. Why didn't he grab his head and start to crush it?
Yeah, and then that the electrical cable comes near him. That's how he kills him, is the electricity.
You mean that like plastic tubing with sparks in it?
Yeah, that's slowly crawling towards him.
It's the charm, baby.
Yeah, I love it.
And then they all get away and have like a little party, and then he's just like, "Do you want to come with me?" She's like, "You never asked me."
Yeah, I think that party there in Washington, our boy Washington, was like setting up a 4-way with those Earth girls.
Yeah,
he's like, "I'm gonna try all 3 of them, but even if I lose one, I still got 2." He knew what he's doing. Damn it, Washington. I mean, he's so smooth. Who wouldn't like him?
Must have made a good impression with Ivan Reitman, though. We see him in Ghostbusters a few years later, so
Did Ivan Reitman have anything to do with this film?
I don't know.
Well, maybe
I'm
it's
making
just
shit up.
I mean,
He was a
Ivan
fan.
Reitman. Well, Ivan Reitman's Canadian, so I was wondering if he actually worked with him or knew him before this.
But didn't they want Eddie Murphy to do it first?
Yeah, I think they did want Eddie Murphy first.
Yeah.
Oh, well, don't tell anyone that. Shh, keep it a secret.
Eddie Murphy turned it down to do like Beverly Hills Cop.
That was a smart. Yeah, I don't know which one's better. I like Ghostbusters more.
I know
but
which one made him more money.
I mean, Beverly Hills Cop had to make him. I mean, it just made him a star.
That's what I mean. It made more. It also had sequels.
That too.
That was the time, yeah, where Eddie Murphy just could not miss. I mean, everything he put out was just like a blockbuster.
Oh, dude, his run in the 80s to early 90s is insane.
Yeah. Vampire in Brooklyn?
Well, it was the late 90s, and that was probably his peak acting performance.
Yeah, he even made an album for it.
What was the next one that bombed so bad? Was Osmosis Jones or Pluto
Nash?
Yeah, they spent like over $100 million and it made like less than 10 in the box office or something. It's like one of the biggest bombs of all time.
What was that? I need to get a quieter keyboard for this. But what one was that?
Was it Pluto Nash?
Is it Spacey?
Yeah. And animation? Yeah, it is. The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Okay, that sounds up my alley. That's all I was wondering.
Budget of $100 million, box office of 7.1.
Jesus.
It's one of
Jesus.
I mean, for the longest time, it was one of the biggest bombs ever. Probably still is. So I actually saw this in theater, and it was one of those like, oh, I'll just watch 2 in a row. And I forgot the other movie I watched was really bad too. So I watched like 2 horrific movies in the theater during college when I had nothing else to do.
I think that's the best time to do it.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, wow, this is really bad. And then I looked around and no one else is in the theater. And I'm like, wow, I'm watching something here.
We had a $5 movie. You got pop and popcorn.
Oh.
I was there so often. And then if you made friends with anybody that worked there, they didn't care. Just give popcorn and let you hang out all day.
Yeah, I remember when they had the early show specials at ours where you got popcorn, soda, and the movie for $10.
Yeah.
And the popcorn had refills on it. Same thing.
Yeah, so did ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was $5 though.
That's amazing. $5. Ours was 10 at least.
I'm not mad about that either.
Yeah. I mean, I actually remember being like, oh man, this is a little too expensive for me. But I had no money then.
Yeah.
But my mom would drop all 3 of us off and get us $30 and then, go shopping and not come back because we would always see like 2 movies. We never paid for the second one half the time because no one cared.
No. At those places, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. It was like they were happy to get the $10. They're like, yo, you're actually paying? Sweet.
We had him come out once and he was like, anybody even in this theater?
Yeah.
Because they were not going to play it.
When I worked at the theater at the end of the Meet Joe Black run,
Mhm.
there was no one in the theater. No one was watching it because it'd been out for like a month, and the movie was 3 hours, so you could only play it like 3 times during the day or whatever, like
Mhm.
the whole span. And we used to go in there all the time and just have tape ball wars, which we would take duct tape and tape it up as a ball and just throw it at each other in the theater.
Mhm.
And I'm like, thank God we didn't hit the actual like projection screen. Holy
Oh,
shit.
yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I just seen, we were talking about Ironside and they were saying, you said maybe they didn't know he's a good actor. This came out in 83 and Scanners came out in 81. So,
yeah. They
I
knew
mean,
what
I'm
they
not
had.
really seeing anything else that seems great. Might have been at the day, but I mean, from
Well, I wonder if
78,
Scanners was
79,
a movie that got more popular over time with home video.
maybe.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Anyway, that'll end our review on this. So, Brad, do you recommend Adventures of Pluto Nash?
Yes. Or what?
I mean, oh my God. Do you recommend Spacehunter, The Adventures in the Forbidden Zone,
Yes,
starring
it is.
Pluto Nash?
Yes, it is a low budget treasure.
Yeah. I'll go next. I completely agree. Everything is great with this. Even Molly Ringwald being annoying, you can skip over. So, Chris, you picked it. Do you recommend the movie you picked?
Yeah, unlike Brad, I pick ones I like. So, yeah, I like it. It's a good one.
I hope every time Brad picks, he just keeps. He's like, I
There
forgot,
might
guys.
there might be more of this there might be more of this coming down the pipe too. So
He picks
beware.
it. There's another clown movie next. Like, I fucking hate clowns. I cried the whole time.
I did submit Killer Clowns from Outer Space coming up here in the future, so might be on that.
That's like your weakness. You only recommend films that you don't like.
He's so caring. He worries about the other people. He's like, but I know they like it.
All right, let's go on to the museum.
This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you.
That belongs in a museum.
So do you.
This is the part of the show where we go out in the film jungle like Indy and bring something back. So I guess our post-apocalyptic wing of the museum. Chris, you picked it. I'll let you go first. What do you got?
I'm just going with the boat train boat ship, the Canadian ship boat.
Those Canadians build a good ship boat.
It's really cool. It rolls up and it starts to set the mood for the movie that I think they wanted to have. It trails off later, but just real apocalyptic. It was cool.
I'll let Brad go last. I'm going to take the Jawa freaks and throw them Molotov cocktails. Those things have really stuck with me. Those faces freaked me out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the non-existent security at the fortress and couple that with the incredibly short attention span of Overdog.
Maybe part of his aging is his brain's not so good anymore.
Yeah. And the chemist doesn't actually help him. He's not a very good right-hand man.
He just pumps him full of that mood stabilizer.
For a henchman go, he's a pretty shitty henchman.
No, he's terrible. It's like, so Overdog, like has memory problems and the chemist has ADD. He can't concentrate on anything. He's like, oh, they're gone, but don't worry, I got another one. Love it. All right, so we can move on to what did we watch? Who wants? Brad, you got anything?
This last Sunday, I watched House of the Dragon.
How was it?
How was it?
They've got the magic back. It's George Martin's material again.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember, like Game of Thrones, it kind of dropped off once they ran out of material, which he had promised he would have delivered to them, but they didn't. But that's off his material, and so if you like just that whole genre of how things used to be back then, like say, give it a try.
The historically accurate films.
Yeah, and if you like seeing the guy get his dick chopped off. You'll really like this.
Oh.
Nice. Yeah, I want to watch
They
it.
don't actually show it, but
Oh,
Let's see. Chris, what'd you watch?
I've just been finally catching up on shows. Umbrella Academy, The Boys. Those were both really good. And I watched another one too. I caught up and I just cannot remember. Oh, we watched Only Murders in the Building or Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, how is that?
She binged the first season, so I only watched the second season with her.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really good though. I mean, for what it is, it's a good murder whodunit comedy.
Yeah, I
So,
remember
yeah.
a lot of people going nuts, like, and how much of a surprise hit it was in season 1.
I could see why.
Yeah.
It's not up my alley, but it's one of those that's really good. I enjoyed watching it with her because it was good enough to keep me entertained, and she enjoyed it. So
Mm-hmm. I watched the Netflix 3-episode documentary on Trainwreck, Woodstock '99, and wow, wow, that went badly. That is
the documentary went bad, or
no, the documentary is
Woodstock?
fantastic. The interviews they got of like fans that were there, people that worked on the show. They even got the 2 people who put the entire show together. The guy who did the original Woodstock and the banker who did 94. I think he's a banker. I don't really know what he is. He talks like a banker because he always talks about like, this time we make money. And Woodstock '99 is just a perfect example of greed taking over.
$12 bottles of water.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, that's interesting on its own because they ended up giving all the concession stands away to third party, and they left no control over limiting spending. They had no control over it. They just like, okay, these are the ones, whatever you make. And then the price gouging began starting day 1, getting worse in day 2. And then by day 3, the riots started because I mean,
there was no toilets, there was no food,
no clean
no
water
water.
because it became you got shit in it. Basically, they were drinking poop water, getting what do they call it? Trout mouth, not trout mouth.
Sepsis.
Yeah, but they actually like the officer or the soldiers have a name for it, where you get all these sores.
Oh,
and
trench
stuff
foot.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess it is trench foot.
Trench foot's like severe athlete's foot.
Well, yeah, I mean, because having the same socks on and
walking
around.
I thought you were still talking about drinking water.
Well, no, like basically it's a fungus that
Mhm.
gets in your mouth and stuff like that because you're drinking tainted water, and it's the same thing with like trench foot because isn't that just a fungus from like wearing all the moisture and disgustingness that gets in your foot?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just. I mean, I highly recommend watching it. And the title's perfect. It is a train wreck. And I can tell you what, the 2 guys, I mean, the one guy died like 3 months after it was recorded, the guy who originally put Woodstock together, but that they do not look good. The organizers are so out of touch with reality. And then they show all their press junkets during the time period of how they just like were defending everything they did hardcore, and then they just show in reality what's actually happening, and it's just like, oh my gosh, wow.
I kind of want to watch it because I wanted to go when it happened, but I was too young. I was 14, so I wasn't able to go.
Yeah, when it was happening, I was 16, and there was talk about my friends, when they were talking about, but when they started talking about the prices of the tickets and how long it would take to drive there, we ended up like bailing. Like, we're not going from Missouri to New York. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
And we were all like 16. I think maybe the oldest was 17. So it was just a pipe dream.
Yeah. And we watched it on MTV. Like they were showing it live. You just got to watch the whole thing. And then they cut the cameras when shit went bad.
Oh yeah.
So I remember Fred Durst was out there and he was kind of getting people fired up too. And
oh, dude, the Korn performance.
They blame it on him.
Well, yeah. I mean,
like being one of the sparks that started a lot of it. They said during that performance.
Yeah, but you're treating people like shit out in the crowd, and then you invite, Limp Bizkit. Like Limp Bizkit's music is aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the both of the organizers, they're like, "Oh, well, I never listened to any of the music." They had no idea what they were doing.
Oh yeah, no, you got to do that, bud.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I can tell you, Korn's performance on the first night is electric.
Yeah, I remember watching videos of like the entire crowd jumping at the same time, like just waves going through. It was cool.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying him and Fred Durst, or the Korn and Limp Bizkit, like they did their job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their fault that these fucking idiots have no idea what they're doing. And by day 2, people were just delirious. And day 3, people were animals because they had just had enough. I mean, I remember actually like, what's his face? Carson Wentz, when he was interviewing people leaving. And I remember because they showed one of the clips, and I specifically remember where the girl and the guy were like, "There's no water. We have nothing left. We can't do this anymore. We're sick. They're treating us like crap."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just being like, "Well, I'm glad I didn't go to that."
Yeah.
It was great.
There's just some certain logistical things you gotta take care ahead of time. If we're gonna have this many thousands of people, this is how many thousands of gallons of water we're gonna need. And
Yeah, they just cut corners and cost everywhere, and just didn't listen to people. They didn't care. It was about making money. That's it. 100% about making money, and that's why it was a train wreck.
Yep. Corporate greed.
Yeah, it's really bad. Highly recommend it, people. That'll end it this week. Thanks for coming. Thanks for picking such a fun one, Chris, with Spacehunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
Oh, you're welcome.
So remember to be kind and
rewind.
I'm never going to edit that together where it's the same time ever.